I mean, here we are again, breaking news. When news breaks, whether it's legitimate or not, rumor or fact-based, official, we go live. Chad Ochocinco, is he becoming a Raiders coach on some level or joining the organization? A lot of crazy mixed signals coming out of Super Bowl weekend in Las Vegas. Couple reports here. This one right here, Chad Johnson, Antonio Pierce hint that longtime Bengals star wide receiver is joining the Raiders coaching staff. And ESPN Sports Center posting this right here, taking over the NFL with former players like 85, coaching up 17. Davante Adams in this graphic right here. Now, there are some rumors that Chad Johnson and Pierce are trolling. There's also rumors that he's not actually going to be a coach, but he's going to be maybe some sort of advisor, or maybe he is becoming a coach. Maybe he's going to try and work specifically with this man, Davante Adams. Tough to say. There's a lot of potential, trolling. He's trolling commentary everywhere. We don't really know. ESPN's reporting it. SportsCenter's reporting it. That it's being talked about, but nobody knows for sure. It's coming straight out of Vegas right now, and I thought I'd come in here and just briefly talk about what the implications would be if this man's brought in specifically to help coach up 17 Davante Adams. That means Davante Adams isn't getting traded. I think even if, let's say, this is all trolling, which it could be, and maybe a day from now it is complete troll messaging. It still, to me, indicates that there's no thoughts about trading away Davante Adams. I don't think this organization has a desire to. It's been talked about a lot. Davante loves Antonio Pierce. Davante went to bat for Antonio Pierce. And even though there's some speculation that Adams could end up in New York with Aaron Rodgers, I'm getting a feeling, even if this is trolling, that there's momentum here for Adams to stay. The Fantasy Football Show Breaking News Edition, Davante Adams Edition, Chad Ochocinco Edition, Antonio Pierce Raiders Edition, Las Vegas Edition, Graveyard Edition begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Looky here, reindeer. We're here for yet another breaking news edition. We go live when news breaks. That's just the way it is. As the song says, it's just the way it is. Right now, we have a few things to digest. Number one, I want to say this is not confirmed. First, this is what SportsCenter on Instagram posted. Picture of Pierce and Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson, former Bengals wide receiver legend. And this Antonio Pierce tweet. This is a message from Antonio Pierce, not just Chad Johnson. So everyone's saying Chad might be trolling, but this came from Pierce. It says, taking over the NFL with former players like 85, coaching up 17. To me, this indicates there's no trolling going on. I don't think so. I think what people are maybe suggesting is trolling, and I could be wrong. We don't know. I want you to know that we don't know that. This was an attachment or a secondary graphic on the SportsCenter post. So these were posted on a carousel where there was two images. And this was the second image. This is Chad Johnson talking to his girl, saying in blue, "I'm getting hired as Raiders coach." And she writes, "LOL, hush. Baby, I'm about to land in 25 minutes. Can you place an order for that spicy?" She's wanting food. And he says, "My teacher in kindergarten told me to hush when I told her I was going to the NFL, going to be an NFL player. And now you don't believe in me and my dreams plus aspirations to be a leader of young men and at the highest level." Look, so basically this back and forth. She doesn't believe him. He's just joking around. He told her the room number. He said, look, basically his girl didn't even believe him when he says he's going to be a head coach, like a wide receiver coach. I don't know what to make of it. I just know that if Pierce and him are both putting it out there. It's weird if they're trolling. It really is weird if they're trolling. Could they be trolling? Sure. Might he just be an advisor of some kind and not an actual coach? He didn't announce anything, Pierce, as in terms of a coach, just helping take over, coaching up 17. So at some level, he's helping Davante Adams. My main objective here is not necessarily to, I guess, pinpoint tonight what kind of position Chad Johnson, a.k.a. Chad Ochocinco, has in Las Vegas, but merely to say that this, to me, feels like Davante Adams moving on is not going to happen. And I think that's the important, takeaway here. So I'd love to know what you guys think. You can certainly call in and discuss this in a second when I open the phone lines up. Chad Johnson also put this out on X, and it says, having dinner with Antonio Pierce, and I'm going to ask for a job with the Raiders in some capacity to help diversify my portfolio and resume. This will be my 39th job if all goes well. So everyone thinks it's trolling, and maybe Antonio Pierce is partaking in the troll, but I don't think so. I think there's some truth to this, some sort of advisory position. But again, what it means to me and what it should mean to you is that this man, Davante Adams, is probably staying in Las Vegas. There's no sort of trade happening. I don't think that we'd be hearing things like this if there was a potential, desire to move on for Davante Adams, or a potential trade in the mind, on top of mind anyway. So, and this also, I guess, goes to, like, let's talk about Davante Adams, and we say, what's Davante Adams' value in Las Vegas? Well, they've got the 13 pick. They do need a quarterback. Do they trade up? The new OC in Las Vegas is the former offensive coordinator in Chicago that just messed up the deployment and maturity process of Justin Fields. This man, you could say, potentially is maybe not the right man for the job, or maybe he just didn't know Justin Fields, but it can probably, in my opinion, rule out Justin Fields to be traded to the Las Vegas Raiders, even though you could say, well, maybe Fields will follow him over, but he didn't know how to utilize Justin Fields. Maybe it was the team. Maybe Justin Fields says, I wanna move over with the man. And they blame it on the team, blame it on the head coach, blame it on Ryan Poles, blame it on a lot of things, blame it on the personnel. Who knows? It's possible, but my guess is that the Raiders are not in the running to trade for Justin Fields because the man that just failed to use him is now the OC in Las Vegas. So what does Las Vegas do? Kirk Cousins, it's possible. Do they get Russell Wilson potentially in a trade with Denver? I talked about that a few days ago. Or what if Denver Broncos, cut Russell Wilson because there's no suitors because of Russell Wilson's contract? It's not so much that teams don't want Russell Wilson, but nobody probably wants his contract. So potentially we have, a messy quarterback situation walking yet again into another season. And I don't know that I feel great about that for Adams, but if they solve this, I'm feeling pretty good. O'Connell's a good quarterback. I don't know that he's going to be great. We don't really know. We do know he didn't produce a whole lot of production, but they, of course, needed to, I think, get new staff and retool an offense in an entire offseason before we can totally judge what Pierce is capable of putting out there in terms of an offensive product, especially in regards to the passing game. So maybe O'Connell becomes a better player. He was certainly a preseason darling, but I don't know. It's tough to say. I would probably guess that at some point Las Vegas upgrades their QB. I think you got guys like Penix Jr. and Bo Nix that will be gambles and reaches to a lot of people if they don't increase their value, which I think they can with pro days and combine and such. But right now, as it stands, people are acting like Penix Jr. and Bo Nix could fall out of the first round. Las Vegas would be crazy not to take a gamble on Penix Jr., a Heisman Trophy candidate, a guy that absolutely dialed up fantasy football goodness the entire season, and just because he crapped the bed, so to speak, in the final game, people are writing him off because he looked mediocre against Michigan, a defense that made everybody look mediocre. This guy, Penix Jr., would be fantastic in Las Vegas. If Penix Jr. fell into LV, I would be very much intrigued to draft Davante Adams for one more season. Ziggy, how old is Davante Adams?
Davante Adams is 31 years old.
Ziggy.
And was born on December 24th,
Ziggy off.
1992.
So 31 years old. That means he turns 32 at the very tail end of the season. What do we talk about drop-off age for wide receivers? 30. That's your hold your breath year. That means 31. He's entering his 31-year-old season. This is one where we need to be a little worried. However, ADP can kick that fear downstream a little bit. And the same thing that you hear from me out of Derrick Henry in round 4, a guy I'm not super high on when he's got high ADP, I'm all of a sudden kind of on board Derrick Henry, thinking he goes to Dallas is my prediction. And 4th round value on Best Ball Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty ain't half bad right now. Here's the link for that. I'll pin that in the live chat. Maybe we'll do a draft in a few minutes. But to be honest with you, I really think that Derrick Henry in round 4, that could change and go to round 2. The moment Derrick Henry's in Dallas, I believe that Derrick Henry's shooting up to like the bottom of 2, top of 3. And then I might be out again because I don't think he stays healthy. I think he could have like a 8 to 10, 8 to 12 touchdown season on a 900 yard, maybe 1,000 even type of year because I don't think he'll hold up. But he'll be tough. He'll be aggressive. He'll be very good in Dallas. And maybe the off chance he's just the anomaly above anomalies and he has one more big season. And it is what it is. You know, maybe he has 10 great games and he misses time. And that's the part of drafting a 30-year-old running back that doesn't compute, right? They're going to get injured. So right now in Best Ball Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, link in description, link in the live chat. I'm dropping the link one more time. We'll draft in a few minutes, I think. My guess is this. You scoop up Derrick Henry in round 4 now in your early underdog best ball drafts. And then once he's in Dallas, maybe we jump off that, but we have enough shares of him in the early tournaments, the February and March tournaments like right now. We get enough Derrick Henry round 4 shares, we're fine. And why I'm even bringing that up, I'm sorry if I got off on a tangent, is that this guy's also a great value. You know, at times, not always, but at times. If I pull up the underdog ADP rankings, sometimes I see him go in a draft. He's going in the 2nd round or something, and it's just like you can't value him there at 31 years old. But then you pull up, another draft, and I see him go even later. So right now, Davante Adams is coming in around wide receiver 16 to 18, and that sometimes is around 24 overall. That's the 2-3 round turn, or up to 35, 36 overall. Very wide range. I've seen him go all over the map. As long as he's your 3rd drafted player, I'm okay with it because at 31, I believe he will be one of those players that balls out per game started, but maybe misses a handful of games because he's 31 and his body catches up to him. Think Cooper Kupp. At 30 years old last year, hold your breath. 30 years old, you've got to hold your breath. Running backs, 28 years old, you got to hold your breath. You got to hope they squeak by because that's the typical season players drop off. 30 years old, you hold your breath. He kind of got banged up a little bit. He kind of had some ups and downs, but if you do grab him at 31 this upcoming season, you got to expect missed games. I do think he'll be one of those elite players per game started like Cooper Kupp last year at 30. When he played, he was good. When he was out, you obviously got screwed. And if you drafted him to play 17 games, you got screwed. I said to avoid Cooper Kupp in 2024. If you avoided him, you made out like a bandit. I also said trade for him on the low from people that wanted to be Panic Peters about it and Panic Peter the way out of the situation. Then you could scoop in and take advantage of it. Davante Adams is that player for me. 3rd round, 1 or 2 leagues out of maybe 10 or 12. Maybe 1 league out of every 10, 1 league out of every 12 leagues you could draft Davante Adams. That's 10% ownership or less in your fantasy leagues for Davante Adams. That is not a put all your eggs in one basket player. But absolutely love to grab the guy as a 3rd drafted player. Not a 2-3 turn bookend guy, but like mid 3rd round. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And you move on. But with a quarterback like Penix Jr., love it. But right now you're drafting without knowing what quarterback he has, so there is some risk to it. Phone lines are open. Dial in, dial in, dial in, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I don't know how long we'll be here. Let's start a draft right now. In fact, we'll do a slow draft together. Maybe we'll just do a private draft. I'm going to go to NFL. I'm going to go to a $5. Let's see here. Let me go down. Two person. I don't want to do a two person. Do they not have... can you not do... I guess you can't do a private draft right now. Can you? Create a private draft. Two person. Yeah, I can't do... I guess we can't do it. Okay, so we'll jump in. Let me put up my screen here. And we'll jump into a draft together. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. I don't know that I'm going to stay the entirety of the draft. I think I'm going to jump on the Dynasty channel in a few minutes. So we can go ahead and jump on there together. But if you go ahead and click on the lobby, you're on drafts. You click on the lobby. You're on the home tab. You're on the draft tab on the bottom. You're on the lobby tab and the home tab at the top. So you can click NBA, NFL. Click on the home tab. And you're going to scroll all the way down to... Actually, do they have a contest for this game only? Let's see here. The big board, the little board. What is at the front? Do they have a potential big game? I'm sorry, I didn't see if anybody was calling. Please call in again. My bad, Travis, and I don't know who else called in. I missed the call. I didn't have it up. Call in again. Phone lines are open. My bad. Let me just see if there's do they not have a Super Bowl game? They call it the big game. I don't think so. Okay. So we're just going to jump into the big board $10 draft. It's $10. I'll wait a minute before we jump in. I'll put this over in the corner here. We're going to jump into one of these real quick, and then I don't think I'm going to stay in this live stream the entirety of it. We'll jump over to the Dynasty channel in just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I missed everybody's calls. I wasn't looking at it. What's up, Travis? How are Ron and Perps? Or is Perps in the? I haven't looked at the chat yet. Is Perps here? Is Ron here? Looks like Ron's here.
I haven't seen Perps. Ron's bragging about how he took Perps out for the night, I think.
Wow. Hold on, but let's read Ron's comments real quick. Okay, Ron says, "Build the tickler to the moon." Okay. Gave Perps a headache. I think he went to bed. Perps held his own. Ron, I think both of you went at it pretty good. I think the crazy part is, Ron, maybe you did go more aggressive, but I don't look at that as a Perps didn't bring his A game. I mean, I think quite honestly, Ron, you and we appreciate you, Ron. Everybody loves Ron in here, but I believe you were by yourself on an island, so I don't know how you could have put him in check if you were all by yourself. He says, "Pray for Perps," and man, Ron's really going to town on him. Perps had to put up with me on the earlier show. Okay, maybe he's softening it as we go down. I'm not sure if he's starting to lessen the.
Well, he's just taking a victory lap.
How can you take a victory lap though when you're by yourself on an island? We don't need to get into it again. I don't want to talk if anybody wants to watch it.
I wasn't bragging. So.
I wasn't bragging. Ron, are you feeling bad for him, or are you? I think he's fine. I don't think you gave him too much of a headache.
I wasn't bragging. He just said that I gave him a headache and that he was going to bed.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't bragging.
I thought you were dancing on the grave.
You weren't bragging. You were just saying. Tell. Okay.
No, I said prayers to Perps. I gave him he had to.
Okay, so Ron's being genuine about it.
Earlier.
Yeah,
I wrote in there. He had to put up with me.
Yeah. We all did though, Ron. We all did though. No prayers for any of us.
No, you're all used to.
I mean, you don't think my head hurt from that? Okay, hold on real quickly. Click on the big board, guys. Click on the big board. Click the green button. We're jumping in. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. 30-second draft. Let's go. I'm going to probably join the Dynasty channel at some point during the middle of this draft.
Ada's in here. I didn't know Ada was still alive.
You what?
Ada, I forget how you say it. Didn't know he was still alive.
Oh, Ada. Yeah, where's Ada been? Ada, God, you've been here for a while. Ada, back from the dead. Where have you been, bro? What do you guys think about this Davante Adams thing? Or this Chad Ochocinco thing? Again, it seems like there's some potential trolling capabilities here. Like tomorrow, we're calling off this this situation. It was all a troll. But the only thing that makes me feel like it isn't is because you have, first of all, SportsCenter. Not that they can't report something wrong, but SportsCenter's putting it up, and it's from Adam Pearce saying taking over the NFL with former players like 85, coaching up 17. Why would he say that at all? Like, why would Pierce say that? I can know why Ochocinco, he trolls everybody. But what would Pierce be gaining from saying that and then it not happening? Like, he's got to be at least an advisor, or he's going to be hired. Maybe even just do a couple coaching sessions. I don't know. But it's got to be something.
I think the advisor thing is probably correct, that he works with some younger guys, works with Adams, sharpens up route running, all that stuff. I mean, they could definitely learn something from him. He knew what he was doing. But,
but it makes sense because think about it, guys. Like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Chad Ochocinco was 100% genuine, I think, the day he said that when you watch Davante Adams run routes, he literally cries. He literally has tears in his eyes. Yeah. And he cries like a baby when he watches Davante Adams run because his routes are so beautiful. Now, everyone's going to say he's trolling, he's acting, he's always putting on a show and performance, and maybe that's true, but there's a long time infatuation between Davante Adams' route running and Chad Ochocinco. Here's the only thing that I would say, though, is can Adams learn anything from anybody? Like, he's so good. I don't know, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was actually going to say that the one hope I have with Adams, and I know guys can get injured as they get older and stuff, but is that Adams doesn't necessarily rely on like pure speed. He's such a good route runner that he may be able to extend that, age 30, age 31 season out a couple more seasons with just how good of a route runner he is, as long as he doesn't lose too much of his stuff.
Yeah, I think he needs a quarterback for sure. I think it's safe to assume that the Raiders are going to aggressively attack that and not go the route of O'Connell, which I don't hate. There are worse quarterbacks than O'Connell, but I don't know. I mean, he's such a preseason darling that everyone's like, this guy's going to throw really well. I'm intrigued by if they install a proper offense and Pierce has a whole offseason to implement it with new coaches. But at the same time, like, I don't want to take any chances. If you own Adams, or you're going to be, and we're kind of talking Adams here, so this is kind of Adams specific. But if you have Davante Adams, you can't afford to wait a year if they mess this up. So, like, we kind of need Adams. If we're counting on Adams to be fantasy relevant, we need him to have a better quarterback.
I was going to ask, do you think that could possibly push them more in the direction of bringing in a veteran, or if it's not a Kirk Cousins or a Russell Wilson, like even like a Gardner Minshew? I know he's not like a guy you're going to win a lot with, but just someone to have besides O'Connell, because I still like O'Connell. I think he can develop. In
a worst case scenario, yeah, but I hope they go big after a rookie. I hope they go real big after a rookie. Real quickly, this draft so far went Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Puka, Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Nico Collins, Kyron Williams, Rashee Rice, and now I'm on the clock, and Devon Achane is there. Let's do it live. This is a running back approach. Let's see how it fares. I got Jahmyr Gibbs and Devon Achane. Let's see how it rolls. Ron, what are your thoughts on Ochocinco? Is this a troll? Is this an advisory position? Is this going to be something more like a He's a wide receiver coach, not the wide receiver coach, not the main one, but a wide receiver coach.
No, I think he brings some value. I mean, he spent many years in the league. I think just like any other player that becomes a coach or an advisor, I mean, I think he'll do fine.
Do you think it's a troll, though? Or do you think there's some legitimacy to it? It's got to be, right? It's coming from Vegas. Feels like it's, it's coming from Pierce and Ocho. What?
I think it's legit.
He's such a troller, though. It's like... It's weird, though.
He's a big soccer.
He's a what?
He's big into soccer, too.
Oh, did you... But here's another thing I wanted to get to. This is the same guy that trolled this right here, which is unbelievable when you think about where is it at. I don't have it right in front of me, but he was asked during a podcast interview on Radio Row in Las Vegas, like I think today, if not hours ago, who he thought was going to win the Super Bowl, and he said the Kansas City Chiefs, and he guarantees it, and he's like, if the Chiefs don't win, I won't ever eat McDonald's again. And he reportedly is such a big McDonald's fan that this is like someone said the equivalent of him losing like $5 million. That's how important McDonald's is, I guess. And then he said, let me rephrase this. He said, my wife's right over there. If the Chiefs don't win, I'll divorce her and never have, something in it for a year. He'll take off, a little bit of that, for a year, and he'll divorce his wife. And he's like, she's right there. And so he's a big, showman. So there's reason to believe that there could be some exaggerating going on, but I don't know why they wouldn't announce the position though. Like, I bet you what it was is they did, we'll figure something out, and they're like, we'll see you later, pal, or whatever. And it was like, that was what it was. We're bringing you in as some capacity, whether it's an advisor or something. We'll work out the details later. I got to get over to this meeting. And they just, dabbed up and left. I don't know. But I do know it's good. It's good for Adams, but I don't know that Adams can learn too much from anybody because he's literally amazing at pretty much everything now. And Chad cries over his route running, so it's like, but it couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt the other wide receivers. It couldn't hurt Michael Mayer. I think if anything, he might help the other players, not just Adams. But to hear Pierce talking about coaching up Adams, the bigger, I think, takeaway here tonight is that Adams isn't getting traded. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like not only would Adams have to want out, the team would want to have to trade him. And why would you be tweeting out, coaching up Adams, we're coming for the league, when you're going to try and trade him? So I think that's good news in some respect. Okay, I'm on the clock here, boys. Tank Dell, Davante Smith. I think I'm going to go Davante Smith. I love Tank Dell. I do, but I do believe Davante Smith is the wide receiver one in Philly this year. That's just me. I believe that. He's been a top 9 wide receiver, 2 years ago. I know he's very much capable of top 10 wide receiver numbers, so I'm totally on board with that being my late wide receiver approach because I have Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane, and then I went Davante Smith. So I feel pretty good about that trio.
A couple of super chats there. From
yeah. Super chat, Superfish dropping a 5 wad, Superfish dropping a 10 wad. At the end of his playing career, Chad was labeled a fool by the NFL. Now he's one of the faces of the Super Bowl, says Superfish. Yeah, he kind of is. That's what I'm saying. Like when someone says he's going to teach Adams, I don't know. Like I said, my takeaway tonight is more that they're not trading Adams. That's kind of what I like when all this broke, like an hour ago. I pretty much felt like the only thing I was vibing on was that this feels like Adams ain't going anywhere, and everything else is like noise and whatever. But like I don't know, it's just like how is this guy like? He's Chad Ochocinco is he's great off the line. He's a great route runner. I'm sure there's some stuff he can teach him, but it's more to me about Adams not leaving. But
watch out for my boy. JJ made a good point too, just like as a mentor, he's very good saving his money and stuff like that. So like they could just bring him in to talk to the guys and
for Mayer,
work
it'll
with
be
him,
good for
like
Mayer.
you said a couple times and stuff like that. But
Yeah, it'll be good for Mayer. Man, I want to go Patty Mahomes here. I'm gonna walk the walk. So I got Gibbs, I got Achane, I got Davante Smith, I got Pat Mahomes. Let me move all this. It's in the way. That's my pick right there, Patrick Mahomes. I almost went Drake London. I do love Drake London a lot, but Pat Mahomes, Davante Smith, Achane, and Gibbs feels like straight fire from the 8 slot. Superfish also said it was because of Chad 85 Johnson antics. There were a few other, let's see, Commanders now. Al wasn't loved either by the NFL. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, Superfish. I don't know that he's going to help Adams all that much, but maybe he helps Mayer. I don't know. Maybe he's a draw. Maybe it helps draw and other stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Rockout said, when will drafting be great again? Right now, Rockout. Right now. All right, let me go over to Lando. Lando's on the line. You're live, Lando. What can I do for you? What are you thinking here? What's this all mean to you? How do you like my team? Gibbs, Achane, Davante Smith, Patty Mahomes. Go ahead. You're live.
Hey, Smitty. Thanks for the vibe. You're running really well so far in this draft, I might say. I had a question that deals more with tight ends, but just to chime in on the LV situation, does the whole story out with Chet mean that potentially LV is looking into a quarterback signing of some kind outside of the draft?
I mean, look, you got Cousins, you got a potential Russell Wilson signing, or if he gets released, if no one wants the contract. And everyone's saying Russell Wilson will get traded, but it's not that easy. His contract is crap. So if he gets released because Denver wants to move on, they're of course going to act like they want to trade him. They shouldn't have announced they're moving on. That's like showing everybody your hand in poker and then going back to your table and in your corner and trying to pretend like everyone didn't just see your hand. So they're trying to pretend like they may keep him now or whatever. They're like, what in the hell what do you do? That's 101. That's trade 101. You don't tip your hand. But if Russell Wilson becomes available, he's an option. Like, who's going to turn down Russell Wilson when you have no other option? Nobody. He'll be a hot commodity if he's a free agent. The only reason you trade for him is to eliminate that competition because no one wants his contract. So if you literally are willing to trade for him and you tell Denver to take some of the hit, whatever, take on some of the contract, then there's a potential that somebody might be ballsy and trade for him that is desperate and says we cannot go down the road, like a coach losing his job, a GM about to lose his job. You're like, let's just do it. Let's go out with a bang. And I like Russell Wilson a little more, outside of Denver than I do in Denver. I think Denver, he's destined to fail. And they even asked him to redo his contract in the middle of his bounce back, performance where he was doing really well. And they went to him and said, hey, restructure or, we're going to bench you. It's like,
they haven't restructured his deal yet, have they?
No, they wanted, not restructure. I'm sorry. They wanted him to he had an injury clause. Hold on 1 second. I'm on the clock.
Oh,
let me just make I guess I'll go JSN. It feels a little bit, not early, but I don't mind this pick. JSN, Davante Smith. I got to get another wide receiver in there. They came to him. He had a clause in his contract that said if he got hurt, he was guaranteed, I forget what the amount was, $4 or $5 million or whatever it was, if he got hurt. So they're like, we're going to bench you the rest of the season so that you don't get hurt, and then we owe you this protective guaranteed money. So that's stupid to do when he's in the middle of doing well, bouncing back. He's destined to fail there. So my point was I like Russell Wilson elsewhere. Maybe Las Vegas would be interesting. Wouldn't it be crazy if he went back to Seattle now without Carroll? Yeah. Atlanta's not bad. Honestly, I don't mind that. Would I draft him in fantasy? No, probably not. But do I like it for Drake London? Yeah. I mean, look at Sutton. Sutton did really well. Minnesota would be crazy. man, I mean, New England, like Travis. I mean,
What?
Russell Wilson. What if he ended up in New England? What if you got Russell Wilson and you drafted Marvin Harrison Jr.?
No, I'll keep Mac Jones.
Yeah, it would have to be some kind of like trade scenario. I'm looking at
Why?
Russell Wilson's contract, and just because his contract kind of extends to the fact where it's like beyond 2024. So
Right, but they may cut him. They may move on. It's a nasty contract,
they
but
could. Yes, they could. They would have to eat a lot in dead caps.
Well,
dead cap space,
they've already said they're moving on, though. So what do they do if they can't trade him? They have to cut him. I mean, at that point, they can go back to him. Be like, never mind. I mean, Jimmy G did that. Jimmy G said bye, and the Niners ended up not saying goodbye to him. But I don't know, bro. I don't.
I mean, Denver is in a big hole, one way or another, with the Russell Wilson situation. So you definitely making great options and stuff like that. The Pats, I'm calling in from Boston, so definitely the Patriots are in need of a quarterback. But we're solid with the third pick, so I think we should be able to lock in on a good QB.
Yeah. But if you did go Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm just saying that Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields for a second rounder, those are options. Those are really the only ones. Like, you take Marvin Harrison Jr. and you don't land one of those three quarterbacks, you made a huge, grave mistake because you can't get the football to Marvin Harrison Jr. I believe you will go quarterback. I do believe that. And so at the end of the day, you're getting JD5 or Drake May. You better hope
JD5
Drake May.
all the way, man.
You what?
Pats Nation, man. You got to hear it out here, man. We're all JD5.
JD5 is the next Lamar Jackson, man. I don't know. I'm not writing Drake May off. I just don't think Drake May is a lock. I mean, I just have to wait and see. I don't get a vibe bad or good yet on him at the NFL level. Keep in mind, Zach Wilson was a great prospect. Like, Drake May is a good prospect, but I just don't have an NFL vibe yet. I just need to see him in some combine pro day work and just get a real good feel of how he meshes, how he throws with new receivers he doesn't know. How, there's a lot that goes into it. We had, what's his name in here? Frank getting all weird on me about saying that I'm backtracking on my Drake May. It's freaking February. What do you mean backtracking? We need to see what some of these guys do. And sometimes watching someone throw to unknown wide receivers at random in a rotation is a really good way. Like, sometimes you need that. Sometimes you don't have all the answers walking into February. You can't just set your ranking in February and it sticks all the way to August or September or even December. You have to adjust and adapt. That's the motto of my show, adjust and adapt. I'll adjust and adapt all day long. That ain't backtracking, baby. That's called fantasy football. All right. What's your last question here, Lando?
It has to do with tight end. So with the rise of Laporta and McBride, where do you see Andrews and Kelsey falling within the rankings?
Well, I just took Kittle at 65. Let's see, where did Kelsey went 45. Andrews has not gone yet, and I imagine he's probably around 7 or 8. So Kelsey's going in round 4 in this draft, and like I said, I took Kittle in round 6, and Andrews probably around 7 or 8. I think those are all about right. I think you take Kelsey in round 3. You take him at 4. I'm fine with it, bro. It sounds like he's not going to retire, and he'd have to really crap the bed hardcore. He could drop off and still crap the bed a little bit and still get 4th round value because of tight end production. I don't mind.
Yep.
I don't mind that.
Yeah. The KC just announced that they activated Sky Moore from IR, so I don't know what that's going to do for the Super Bowl. But anyway.
Nothing. I mean, maybe some people will get some more water in a speedy fashion. Got another water runner. You know, maybe Kadarius Toney, because Kadarius Toney drops him because he can't catch anything. So it's like Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney together. I think they can get everybody water in a timely fashion. The two of them.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, Lando. Later, bro.
See. Thanks again for the time.
Aaron, you're live.
Hello, Smitty. I just want to go ahead and elaborate on the Russell Wilson deal because I know you guys were talking about how obviously we know that they can't get rid of that contract. So I wonder, they're going to have to eat it either way. Either they're going to eat it by dropping them or they're going to eat it by saying, hey, we'll eat 90% of it and somebody else, can we get like a 5th, 6th round pick and you can take Russell Wilson off our hands? That's the only way that I could see them doing that. Do you think they would trade him and eat like 90% of that deal? Because they'll be eating it anyways. What do you think on that, Smitty?
Yeah, there's when you trade someone, there's still a cap hit. Like people, I don't know if people understand that, but so like it's not trading him or cutting him is still costing a boatload either way. Like, but they've said they're moving on, and guess what happens if they retract that? He's gonna fail. You know, they've already right. said you're not our guy, and they're gonna what? Oh wait, we can't get rid of him. Sorry, Bob from accounting. Bob, oh numbers don't work out. Okay, hold on, Russell, hold up. Take that key card back, Russell. We're gonna go ahead and have you suit up for week 1. Like that's not gonna work. He's gone. He's gone. Whether the Broncos crap the bed, like they did all 2023, and tip their hand instead of just being quiet and trying to trade him. I don't know. I don't know. I think
I don't know why NFL teams do that shit where they say, oh, we're going to do this, and then they tip their hand and say, oh, yeah, but we're just going to cut him or he's done. Like, I don't know why they do that. Just keep quiet, like you said. That's how you can get a deal done. I don't understand that, why NFL teams do that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. But, you know, it is what it is.
I do like Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy if they fall down to the Broncos. I think what are they 12th, Smitty? I think they picked 12th, right? I believe they picked 12th in the draft.
The Denver Broncos, yeah, they select 12. Yes. They select 12. I think I've said this before. I think Russell Wilson going to Las Vegas would be super interesting. And, you know, you could do some crazy creative trades too, you know, like with that.
Oh, no, I would love him in Las Vegas or maybe New England.
I wish
they want to go Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3.
I wish LV was at 12 and Denver was at 13 because you could do a 1-pick swap, and then, you know, just that one thing could like justify this or that. But like you could I could see crazy things happening. Maybe they still swap and then you give them a future first for it, and you're like, okay, well, we want that higher pick. We'll take Russell Wilson, but we want the higher 12 pick. You take 13, right. Give us a future, you know, not future first rounder, future second rounder or something like that. I don't even know if Russell Wilson, I didn't mean first rounder. I don't think Russell Wilson can even command a second rounder, to be honest. If Fields is being talked about as a second rounder and you got to take on a massively bad contract for Russell Wilson, how are you going to get a second rounder for Russell Wilson? Kind of hard to imagine. But yeah, McCarthy, Penix Jr., Bo Nix, all could be in the running for this territory, 8 to 16.
Yeah, with Russell's age, there's no way an NFL team is going to give the Denver Broncos a second-round pick. We're talking maybe a 5th, 6th, or 7th round.
Yeah, no, I know.
The reason why Justin is required for that, I also heard this yesterday, Smitty. I don't know if you want to talk on this in the future. This is from ESPN, so I guess we take this with a little bit of grain of salt. I threw this inside the Instagram chat that we're in. It's where there'll be a possibility, a package with Justin Fields, Kyle Pitts, and future capital going towards the Bears and sending Fields to Atlanta. On that, true that is. I don't know if you want to check in on that. That's something I just want to throw your way. I don't know if
we've talked about that. We've talked about that one. There's so many different variants of that one. You know, when things start gaining a little traction on something like that, I'll definitely be going live on it. I've heard 2 different versions of it. What was the version you said?
I said it was going to be Justin Fields going to Atlanta, coming back to Chicago would be Kyle Pitts and picks going back to
but where did you hear that? Because there's been 10 different versions of it.
ESPN. Let me go in the chat right quick that we have on Instagram because that's where I put it at.
I'll look for it. But is it someone just drumming up something that kind of like the Colin Cowherd?
It could be. It was just from ESPN. It was I forget what the person from ESPN, but it was like position from ESPN.
Yeah,
I know we got to take it with a pinch of grain of salt.
Yeah, there was a couple guys that were running their mouth on just what if you did this trade? And I don't report on every one of those because it's just a guy on a podcast is saying what if, but because he's got ESPN attached to him, people are running with it. And I can't go live on every Colin Cowherd misstep or stupid comment he makes. But when it starts getting viral and everybody keeps asking me about it, I know I got to come in and address it. But there's no way in my mind, but I could be wrong, that the Falcons would even remotely entertain giving up Kyle Pitts in some sort of deal like that.
No, I agree. The only thing that worries me with that is the fact that you did touch on, obviously, Morris came out and said we're going to build around John Robinson, and London is going to be our main guys. I didn't hear Pitts in there, so that's why I'm thinking.
I mean, it's a good point.
I'm thinking with it. Yeah, it is. He didn't say Kyle Pitts was part of his plan.
Yeah, but I mean, when do you stop listing names? Like those are the two biggest weapons for sure. So you could keep listing your entire team, and it's like thanking everybody at the Grammys. Like, when do you stop? I don't know. We'll see. I think Kyle Pitts is in for a big year. London's in for a big year. Bijan's in for a big year. Zach Robinson's a phenomenal OC hire. I love Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson together. I think this is it's like the Rams coaching staff, pretty much the framework of it, all there. A three-headed monster, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see the Falcons unfold this thing back into a good direction, because it's been crumbled up into a little ball.
I'm really curious to see how that's going to go. Like, obviously, I'm a Panthers fan there. Smitty, I hate it inside the division, but for fantasy, I love it. I do want to hear I'd never asked you this, but what's your take on Dan, with our head coach? And,
I mean, I got
what's his name? Kills.
I got a lot
on
this, bro. This is as good as this Atlanta Falcons situation. These are the two best coaching turnarounds, and anybody that says that Cliff Kingsbury is garbage is literally regurgitating what other people are saying over and over, and they're not using facts. This guy's coached 4 Heisman quarterbacks and Patrick Mahomes, and has all kinds of records in college. And as a Cardinal fan, I can tell you with certainty that this guy knows what he's doing in architecting an offense. Now, is he good at head coaching? That we don't have to worry about that. Like, that's where things may be unfolded. What I do remember very clearly is that the Arizona Cardinals were not the second best, not the third best, not the fifth best, but absolutely, without hesitation, without equivocation, the number 1 team in the National Football League for half of a season. And everybody was scared to death to play us. Defense, offense, absolute glory for half of a year. Everyone called us the number 1 team in the National Football League. Everyone. And people forget about it. And people act like it didn't happen. And it did unfold, injury struck, but this man has a great mind and scheme. It's a arsenal. And when you talk about pairing it with Dan Quinn, when Dan Quinn was hired, just like when Raheem Morris was hired, all these knee-jerk, early reacting Rodgers will come out of the woodwork and say, "Oh, Dan Quinn, how are you going to have an offense with that?" Well, Oscar, Dan Quinn's not necessarily in charge of the offense, is he, Bob? And you got Adam Peters, this mastermind from San Francisco, coming over to orchestrate all this. And Kingsbury and Quinn is a perfect marriage, and Kingsbury is going to be fantastic. And for all the Niner fans that hate Kingsbury because he was a Cardinal and they love to rip to shreds, interdivision coaches and teams, Shanahan has nothing but glorious things to say about both Quinn and also Cliff Kingsbury. And Raheem Morris, everybody loves him. Shanahan said they tried to get Raheem Morris constantly to be a part of their organization. So back to when his dad, he begged his dad. But anyway,
I
these are
definitely like
fantastic.
the Washington that you were saying, landing spot right there. And like I was hearing some rumors that if they can get Caleb Williams, I think Kingsbury, he's going to get his guy. He's going to go try to go up and get Caleb. 100%, I believe that.
Well,
I think he's going to try to go up and get his guy.
He'll try. There's only one way that's going to happen is if Chicago's guy is actually quietly Drake May, which everyone can laugh at and say that's totally not the case, but
right.
Stranger things happen in the 11th hour. We see it every year. So Chicago quietly likes Drake May. And when you think about it, Caleb and Fields are pretty similar in some ways. They both scramble. They both they play off script, and so you have a guy like Drake May's more traditional quarterback that they might be very interested in that in a change, and that might be what they want to coach up. And if that is the case, then Washington will be drafting Caleb Williams at 1.1, and they'll be making a trade. Plus, Las Vegas is very much tied to being a team that wanted to trade up for Caleb, and that's where Kingsbury was going when that news broke. Then all of a sudden, Kingsbury beeline for Washington, and the Bears offensive coordinator moves over to Las Vegas, who failed with Fields, so he's not going to Las Vegas anymore. And now all of a sudden, you've got Washington back in the conversation of potentially Caleb, merely because last year, this past season, Kingsbury was Caleb's QB coach. So there's definitely a connection, but it's not going to happen just because he wants it. Like, the Bears have to not want Caleb Williams, which might be the case. All right, hey, I gotta run, Aaron. I appreciate all the questions. Call back in for another slew of them, maybe. I'll be on the Dynasty channel. Call into the Dynasty channel in a minute.
I would definitely, because I do want to talk more stuff with you. I love talking football with you. I really appreciate the time that you gave me. Thank you.
Later, man. All right, Travis and Ron, let me wrap up with you guys. I'm going to jump over to the Dynasty channel. Any final thoughts here, Travis or Ron? I'm going to probably hang up on you guys at the same time.
No.
Either of you got anything you want to add?
Honestly.
What, Travis?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, feel free if you're up, feel free to call into the Dynasty channel, both of you. Ron, you got anything? Hello, Ron.
Are we going right over soon?
You're on mute, brah.
We're going over probably in about 2-3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'll see you over there.
All right, later. Ron, you got anything else? Hello?
You're on mute, brah.
Hello? Ron? Hello? All right, Ron, you're on mute or you're not by the phone. Call back on the Dynasty channel. All right, I don't know if Ron fell. Maybe Ron fell asleep. Maybe Ron got a headache and he left. But here's the team so far. If anybody's interested, I'm on the clock. I do need a wide receiver. Let's go, Lad McConkey. My wide receivers are thinnish, but I love the team. It's a 1 QB. I got Mahomes and Burrow. That's a great, rotational best ball strategy because I'll probably dominate the quarterback scoring, even though it's 1 QB. You don't make the start. They start the highest score each week, so that's a great rotation. Plus, if one gets hurt, I'm still golden. Gibbs, Achane, Blake Corum, Zamir White, Davante Smith, JSN, Jameson Williams, Lad McConkey, and then I've got Kittle and Pitts at tight end. Pretty good squad. Obviously weak at wide receiver a little bit, but that's kind of the plan of attack. Hit these wide receivers. Going live on the Dynasty channel in T-minus 2 to 5 minutes. Give me time to get it all set up. Please hit that link, Underdog Fantasy, if you want to draft with me in the future, just like this draft. Underdog Fantasy link is going to be dropped right here. There it is. Boom. Hit it. Do it live. Click the link. Double your first deposit up to $100 by using that link. That link is also in the description of the video. Also, keep in mind that Underdog, to qualify for this, all you need is an Underdog account, a verified Underdog account. Underdog will be giving $1 million away in little increments, just airdropping them into Underdog accounts. So all you need is an Underdog account. That link is in the live chat. I just dropped it. The link's in the description of the video if you're watching a replay, and code Smitty also helps get it done. So go get your account so you're not missing out on this $1 million of droppage going on during Sunday, during the big game. And you also, if you're new, get this special here. Patrick Mahomes, 0.5 total yards. Hit the like button on the way out the door. See you on the Dynasty channel in just a few minutes. Don't go to the Dynasty channel. Links in the description. Go to the Dynasty channel. Keep refreshing. It'll also be on my stories. Later.